Coachella, oh honey, where do we even start? Picture a place where the music's so loud it rattles your bones, the fashion's so wild it could stop traffic, and the drama's so hot it could fry an egg on the desert sand. This isn't just a festival, it's a full-blown cultural supernova. Every April, the sleepy little town of Indio, California, shakes off its dust and transforms into the beating heart of cool. We're talking hundreds of thousands of sun-kissed souls flocking to the Empire Polo Club, ready to lose themselves in a whirlwind of sound, art, and overpriced tacos. You might leave your savings behind, but you'll strut back home with a wardrobe dripping in glitter and stories that'll make your friends green with envy. Now, Coachella isn't some one-hit wonder. Since 1999, when it burst onto the scene with Beck crooning and Rage Against the Machine raging, it's grown from a scrappy desert dreamer into a global icon. It's the stage where legends are born. Think Beyoncé turning 2018 into Coachella, or Tupac's hologram in 2012 making us all question reality. And the backstage drama, juicier than a Hollywood scandal. Kanye West once tried to build a giant dome for his 2019 set, only to get a sassy "not today" from the organizers. Here on Hollywood Mysteries, we're peeling back the layers of Coachella's dazzling saga. From its wild child beginnings to its reign as pop culture royalty, we'll dive into the iconic moments, the laugh-out-loud mishaps, and the vibe that's shaped generations. At its core, freedom of expression, the soul of this desert diva, where everyone from artists to attendees can let their freak flags fly. So, buckle up, grab your flower crown, and join me on this sandy ride. Got a favorite Coachella memory? Drop it in the comments, or just scream Coachella. If she's still living rent-free in your head, let's roll. Let's rewind to the late 1990s when the world was freaking out about Y2K and everyone was rocking cargo pants like they were going out of style. Spoiler alert, they did. In the middle of this cultural chaos, a wild idea sprouted in Indio, California, a sleepy desert town known more for its date farms than its nightlife. Enter Coachella, the brainchild of Paul Tollett and his crew at Golden Voice, who looked at a dusty polo field and thought, you know what this place needs? A music festival so epic it'll make Woodstock jealous. As Tollett himself put it, we wanted to create something that wasn't just a concert, it was a vibe, a whole experience. Bold move, Paul, bold move. Back in 1999, the music scene was a glorious mess. Grunge was fading, nu metal was snarling, and indie rock was starting to whisper its cool kid promises. California, with its history of counterculture, think Haight-Ashbury hippies and punk rock divies, was the perfect petri dish for something new. Golden Voice, already known for gritty punk shows, decided to go big. They booked a two-day extravaganza at the Empire Polo Club, a sprawling 78-acre field fringed with palm trees. The lineup, a smorgasbord of alt-rock and electronic acts, from Morrissey's moody croons to the Chemical Brothers' pulsating beats. It was like throwing a party and hoping the cool kids showed up, quipped Rick Van Santen, Golden Voice's co-founder. October 9th to 10th, 1999, marked Coachella's grand debut. About 25,000 people showed up, which sounds impressive until you realize the organizers were bleeding money faster than a tourist buying VIP passes. Tickets were $50 a day, a steal by today's standards, but the festival lost over $800,000. Why? Well, imagine trying to convince people to drive 2 hours from LA to a desert with no shade, questionable porta potties, and a lineup that, while iconic now, was niche back then. One attendee laughed, I went for the music, but I stayed for the sunburn and the $5 water bottles. Oh, the glamour. Despite the financial flop, Coachella's first year was a cultural spark. It tapped into the late 90s hunger for authenticity, a generation tired of MTV's glossy pop, but not quite ready for the internet's takeover. The festival's scrappy charm was its strength. Fans motioned in the dust, artists played like it was their last gig, and the vibe was pure, unfiltered freedom. Coachella felt like a secret club, said one early fan, like you were in on something the rest of the world didn't get yet. But here's the kicker, it didn't return in 2000. Yup, the festival went dark, leaving everyone wondering if it was a one-hit wonder. Spoiler, it wasn't. The real magic happened when Golden Voice regrouped. They analyzed what worked, the eclectic lineup, the desert's raw beauty, and what didn't, like, losing their shirts. By 2001, they were ready to try again, this time with a sharper vision. We knew we had something special, Talit said. It was about building a community, not just a show. That resilience set the stage for Coachella's comeback, proving it wasn't just a festival but a movement. And trust me, when it roared back, it was like a phoenix rising from the ashes, or at least from a very sandy campfire. Okay, I gotta admit, imagining 1999 Coachella makes me wish I'd been there, rocking a bucket hat and zero sunscreen. Anyone else picturing themselves in that crowd? The struggle was real, but it was the kind of struggle that birthed a legend. Coachella wasn't born perfect, one organizer later said, but it was born passionate. And that passion? It's what turned a money-losing desert party into the cultural juggernaut we know today. Fast forward to the early 2000s, and Coachella was starting to find its groove. But let's talk about the stage it was strutting on, Indio, California. This wasn't Hollywood or San Francisco. It was a sunbaked nowhere, a place where the biggest event before Coachella was the annual Date Festival, complete with camel races. No shade, Indio, but you were like the wallflower at the dance until Coachella swept in with its glittery entourage. Indio was a blank canvas, said local historian Maria Garcia. Coachella painted it with every color in the rainbow. Suddenly, this sleepy SAMC was the place to be, a pilgrimage site for music nerds and fashion rebels alike. The Empire Polo Club itself was a character in this story. Picture rolling green fields, a total mirage in the desert, framed by jagged mountains, and those iconic palm trees swaying like they knew they were photogenic. By April, when Coachella typically kicks off, the heat's already flirting with 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and the air smells like sunscreen, sagebrush, and ambition. The festival's layout, with its sprawling stages and art installations, turned the polo grounds into a boho chic fever dream. You'd walk from a techno tent to a folk stage, feeling like you'd teleported through genres, one attendee recalled. And the Ferris wheel? It wasn't just a ride, it was a beacon, screaming, "You haven't lived until you've posted this view on MySpace." Culturally, Coachella was born at the perfect moment. The early 2000s were peak Y2K vibes, think low-rise jeans, trucker hats, and the internet still figuring itself out. Social media was in its infancy, Friendster anyone? But Coachella was already a proto-influencer's paradise. It captured the zeitgeist of a generation craving connection after the dot-com bust and 9/11's shadow. This was our escape, said music critic Jessica Hopper. Coachella was where you could be weird, loud, and free without judgment. The festival leaned into the boho chic aesthetic, think flowy skirts, fringed vests, and enough crochet to make your grandma jealous. It was like a Renaissance fair for hipsters. But let's get real, Coachella's early culture wasn't all flower crowns and kumbaya. It was a messy, beautiful experiment. Fans camped in dusty lots, bartering water for glow sticks. Artists, often indie bands with more passion than polish, played to crowds that were half devoted, half distracted by the sheer novelty of it all. One fan's story cracks me up. "I traded my last granola bar for a spot near the stage. Best deal of my life." The festival's DIY spirit clashed with its growing pains, long lines, spotty logistics, and a vibe that was equal parts magical and chaotic. It was like herding cats in a sandstorm. One early staffer laughed, "Here's where Coachella's complexity shines." It was a paradox, a corporate-backed event that felt like a grassroots rebellion. Golden Voice wanted to make money, but they also wanted to nurture art and community. "We were selling freedom, but freedom ain't cheap," Talit admitted. That tension, idealism versus commerce, became Coachella's heartbeat, shaping its identity as both a cultural touchstone and a lightning rod for criticism. And let's not kid ourselves, even back then, people were side-eyeing the $10 beers. Yet, somehow, the festival's raw energy made it all worth it. Coachella was where you found your tribe, said one devotee, even if your tribe was just a bunch of strangers dancing in the dark. Okay, I'm low-key jealous of those early Coachella kids, living their best lives with zero Instagram pressure. Can we talk about how they survived without portable chargers? Heroes, all of them. But seriously, this desert playground and its Y2K swagger set the stage for Coachella's meteoric rise. It was a cultural comet, and it was only just getting started. Alright, let's hop into the early 2000s when Coachella was like that scrappy kid who showed up to the party with big dreams and a questionable haircut. After its 1999 debut flopped financially and 2000 went radio silent, Golden Voice wasn't ready to let their desert dream die. In 2001, they hit the reset button, and Coachella roared back to life on April 28th at the Empire Polo Club. This time, they leaned hard into the indie rock wave sweeping the nation. Headliners like Jane's Addiction brought a raw, rebellious energy that screamed, "We're not your mom's music festival." As Paul Tallett, Golden Voice's mastermind, put it, we wanted to build a world where fans and artists could collide in the best way, and collide they did. The 2001 festival was a turning point. About 35,000 fans showed up, a big jump from '99, and the vibe was electric. The lineup mixed alt-rock darlings like the Dandy Warhols with electronic pioneers like Fatboy Slim, creating a sonic smoothie that was weirdly perfect. Coachella's aesthetic was still rough around the edges. Think denim cutoffs, bandanas, and a whole lot of dust. One fan cracked, "I looked like I'd rolled out of a tumbleweed by day 2, but I felt like a rock star." The festival wasn't raking in millions yet, but it broke even, which for Golden Voice was like winning the lottery. "We were just happy people showed up," laughed promoter Rick Van Santen. By 2002, Coachella was picking up steam. The festival expanded to 2 days, April 27th to 28th, and pulled in 55,000 attendees with acts like Björk and The Strokes. This was the era when indie rock was king. Bands with shaggy hair and thrift store vibes were the soundtrack of a generation. Coachella capitalized on that, becoming a haven for fans who wanted to discover their band before the mainstream did. "It was like a secret handshake," said music critic Rob Sheffield. "You went to Coachella to brag about seeing Arcade Fire before they were huge." The festival's layout grew too, with new stages like the Sahara tent for dance music, turning the polo fields into a choose-your-own-adventure playground. The mid-2000s saw Coachella bloom like a desert flower. In 2003, the White Stripes rocked the main stage, their raw garage sound cutting through the heat like a switchblade. Jack White later said, "Playing Coachella felt like we were preaching to the converted. Pure energy." By 2004, the festival drew 60,000 fans and reunited Pixies, a moment so seismic it's still whispered about in indie circles. Ticket prices crept up to $75 a day, but fans didn't blink. They were hooked. Coachella was no longer just a festival, it was a cultural pilgrimage. One attendee summed it up, "I saved up for months to go. It was my Woodstock, my Mecca, my everything." What fueled this growth? Timing, for one. The early 2000s music industry was in flux, Napster had shaken things up, and live events were becoming the new gold rush. Coachella also nailed its branding, a mix of authenticity and aspiration. It was accessible enough for college kids, but cool enough for tastemakers, plus the internet was starting to buzz. Early blogs like Pitchfork hyped the festival, and fans swapped grainy photos on Flickr. "Coachella was the first festival that felt like it belonged to us," said one early blogger. Okay, I'm low-key obsessed with the idea of 2003 Coachella. No smartphones, just vibes. Can you imagine? This was Coachella finding its footing, ready to leap from cult favorite to global sensation. If Coachella's early years were its awkward teen phase, the mid-2000s to 2010s were when it strutted into the spotlight like a full-blown diva. Let's zoom in on some moments that didn't just define the festival, they redefined pop culture. First up, 2006, when Madonna turned the Sahara tent into her personal disco inferno. On April 30th, the Queen of Pop sashayed onto a stage, usually reserved for DJs, belting out hung up to a crowd losing their collective minds. It was like the desert turned into Studio 54, gushed one fan. Madonna's set wasn't just a performance. It was a statement that Coachella could bridge underground and mainstream Indian pop. The festival's cred skyrocketed, and suddenly, everyone wanted a piece of the action. Fast forward to 2008, when Prince, yes, the Prince, took the main stage on April 26th. His 2-hour set, complete with a cover of Radiohead's Creep, was pure magic. I'm still not over it, one attendee confessed years later. Prince made the stars feel closer. This was Coachella flexing its muscle, pulling in legends while still championing newbies like Vampire Weekend on smaller stages. The festival was now a cultural juggernaut, drawing 70,000 fans a weekend and generating buzz that echoed from LA to London. Ticket prices hit $169 for a 3-day pass, and the event expanded to 3 days, a format that stuck. Then came 2010, a year that screamed ambition. On April 16th to 18th, Coachella hosted Jay-Z as its first hip-hop headliner, a bold move for a festival rooted in rock and indie. Jay-Z's set, backed by a live orchestra, was a game-changer. "We wanted to push boundaries," Khaled said. Jay-Z proved hip-hop could own the desert. The festival also leaned into art, with installations like a giant robotic hand grabbing at the sky. Coachella was no longer just about music. It was a sensory overload, a place where you could stumble from a Gorillaz set to a psychedelic sculpture and feel like you'd lived a lifetime in one weekend. The 2014 festival, April 11th to 13th and 18 to 20, now spanning 2 weekends, marked another leap. Outkast's reunion set was a nostalgia bomb, with Andre 3000 and Big Boy reminding everyone why they were rap royalty. "It felt like a family reunion," said one fan, but with better beats. Coachella's social media presence exploded, with hashtag #COACHELLA trending worldwide. Instagram, now a cultural force, turned every flower crown and sunset shot into a status symbol. The festival's economic impact hit for $103 million that year, per a 2014 study by the Coachella Valley Economic Partnership. Coachella wasn't just an event anymore, noted critic and Powers. It was a lifestyle. Finally, let's talk 2017, when Lady Gaga stepped in as a last-minute headliner after Beyoncé's pregnancy announcement. On April 5th, 10th, and 22nd, Gaga delivered a high-octane set, complete with fireworks and a drone show. "I'm here for you, Coachella," she shouted, and the crowd ate it up. This moment cemented Coachella's knack for turning curveballs into triumphs. By now, the festival was a global benchmark, inspiring events like Glastonbury and Lollapalooza to up their game. I mean, come on, who else could make a drone show feel like a spiritual experience? "Coachella creates moments you can't replicate," said one attendee. These milestones weren't just wins, they were the bricks that built Coachella's empire. Of course, Coachella's rise wasn't all glitter and rainbows. The festival faced hurdles that could have derailed a lesser event, but it dodged them like a pro. Let's start with the desert itself. Indio's weather is no joke. Think 100 degrees Fahrenheit days and surprise dust storms that turn your boho chic into boho chic can. In 2003, a windstorm nearly toppled a stage, and one staffer joked, "We were one gust away from Coachella, the musical disaster." Golden Voice fought back with better infrastructure, shaded areas, misting stations, and beefed-up stages. By 2005, the festival felt less like a survival test and more like a party. Then there was the money issue. Early Coachellas were financial tightropes, and even as attendance grew, so did costs. By 2010, 3-day passes hit $347, sparking grumbles about selling out. $500 for a ticket and a vibe. Only at Coachella, one fan quipped, critics called it a playground for rich kids, But Golden Voice doubled down on value, adding art installations and diverse lineups to justify the price. They also introduced payment plans, making tickets more accessible. "We wanted everyone to feel welcome," Talit said, "not just the trust fund crowd." Logistics were another beast. By 2012, with 85,000 attendees per weekend, Coachella was a small city. Traffic jams stretched for miles, and water stations ran dry. One attendee groaned, "I waited longer for a taco than I did for Radiohead." Golden Voice responded with military precision, more shuttles, better crowd control, and an app for real-time updates. By 2015, the festival ran like a well-oiled machine, though some still missed the chaotic charm. "It's demolished now," one veteran sighed, "but I still go." Cultural pushback was trickier. Coachella's indie roots clashed with its growing commercial sheen, and by the late 2000s, purists were crying sellout over corporate sponsors like Heineken. Golden Voice leaned into transparency, emphasizing that sponsorships funded the art and music. "We're not perfect, but we're trying," Talit admitted. The festival also faced heat for its lack of diversity in early lineups, which skewed white and male. By 2010, they diversified, booking more hip-hop, Latin, and female artists. "Coachella had to grow up," said critic Jessica Hopper. And it did. Through it all, Coachella's resilience shone. Each challenge, whether costs, criticism, forced it to evolve without losing its soul. "We're in the business of making memories," one organizer said, "and memories don't come cheap or easy. Okay, I gotta say, I'm impressed they kept the magic alive through all that." Coachella's like that friend who always pulls through, even when the odds are stacked against them. Coachella's look and feel? Pure magic, with a side of sparkle. From its early days, the festival's aesthetic was a love letter to freedom. The 2000s brought boho chic, think flowing maxi dresses, cowboy boots, and flower crowns sprouting like dandelions. By 2010, streetwear took over, crop tops, neon fanny packs, and sunglasses that screamed, "I'm too cool for this heat." "Coachella's a runway," said fashion editor Elaine Welteroth. "You sweat, but you sweat stylishly." The festival turned attendees into trendsetters, with brands like Free People and Urban Outfitters scrambling to copy the vibe. Art was Coachella's secret weapon. From 2007's neon-lit cooler installation to 2019's astronaut sculpture, the festival was a gallery under the stars. "We wanted art to be as big as the music," Talit said. "These pieces weren't just photo ops. They sparked conversations, like 2013's recycled material snail that screamed eco-chic." Coachella's visual flair influenced festivals worldwide, from Burning Man to Tomorrowland. "No one did immersive like Coachella," said artist Philip K. Smith III. Musically, Coachella shaped tastes. It championed indie before it was mainstream, pushed electronic dance music into the spotlight, and gave hip-hop a desert stage. "Coachella's lineups taught me what I didn't know I loved," one fan said. Socially, it birthed the festival influencer. Those perfectly curated Instagram grids owe their existence to Coachella's photogenic chaos. Economically, it pumped billions into Indio, with local businesses calling it Christmas in April. Coachella's legacy is its ability to evolve while staying true to its core, freedom of expression. "It's where you can be your weirdest, wildest self," said one attendee. From fashion to art to music, Coachella didn't just follow trends, it set them. I mean, who else could make glitter body paint a personality trait? This festival didn't just grow, it redefined what a festival could be. Coachella isn't just a festival, it's a glitter-dusted love letter to human connection. By the 2010s, it had become a global gathering spot where strangers turned into soulmates, if only for a weekend. Picture this, you're elbow to elbow in a sea of 90,000 fans, singing your heart out to a surprise set, and suddenly the person next to you is your new best friend. That's Coachella's magic. It's like a summer camp for adults, one fan gushed in 2016. You leave with stories, sunburns, and maybe someone's phone number scrawled on your wristband. The festival's community is its lifeblood, a kaleidoscope of sequins, sweat, and shared dreams under the desert sky. The sense of belonging didn't happen by accident. Coachella's layout, with its sprawling stages, art installations, and communal spaces like the Do Lab's neon-soaked dance zone, was designed to spark interaction. By 2015, the festival had mastered the art of controlled chaos. You could wander from a soulful Leon Bridges set to a thumping EDM tent, high-fiving strangers along the way. Social media supercharged this vibe. Instagram and Snapchat turned every moment into a shared spectacle, with fans posting stories of their outfits or live streaming sets to friends stuck at home. "Coachella's where I found my tribe," said one attendee in 2019. "We bonded over Tame Impala and survived the porta-potty lines together." The artist-fan connection was just as electric. Coachella's stages gave performers a chance to get raw and real. In 2013, the Postal Service's reunion set had Ben Gibbard belting such great heights, while fans sang every word, tears streaming. "I've never felt closer to a crowd," Gibbard said later. Smaller stages, like the Gobi tent, lit up, and comers like Hozier in 2015 forge intimate moments, turning skeptics into superfans. Even the camping grounds were a bonding zone. Picture dusty tents, late-night guitar jams, and someone inevitably yelling, "Who's got a charger?" One camper laughed, "I traded my last beer for a flashlight." Coachella's basically Survivor, but with better music. But let's not romanticize too much. This community had its quirks. By the late 2010s, Coachella's crowd was a mix of die-hard music nerds, Instagram influencers chasing clout, and tech brothers in VIP. You'd see someone in a $2,000 outfit next to a kid in a tie-dye shirt, one observer noted. It was unity, but with a side of chaos. Golden Voice leaned into this diversity, offering everything from craft beer gardens to vegan food trucks to keep everyone happy. They even added wellness areas with yoga and meditation by 2018, because nothing says festival life like downward dog in 100-degree heat. Okay, I'm cackling imagining a yoga class between dubstep sets. Anyone tried that? Coachella's community wasn't just about the moment, it was about the memories. Fans left with bracelets, 10 lines, and stories they'd retell for years. "Coachella's where I figured out who I was," one 2017 attendee said. "It's like therapy, but louder. That sense of discovery, of finding yourself in a crowd, is what kept people coming back, even when tickets cost more than a car payment. I mean, who needs savings when you've got dessert magic, right?" This community, messy and marvelous, was Coachella's beating heart, proving freedom of expression wasn't just a tagline, it was a way of life. Coachella's sparkle came with some serious shade. By the 2010s, the festival was a cultural titan, but it wasn't immune to drama, and trust me, the tea was piping hot. One big critique was its inclusivity, or lack thereof. Early lineups leaned heavily on white, male acts, prompting fans to call out the festival for sidelining women, BIPOC, and queer artists. In 2015, only 20% of performers were women, and social media erupted. Coachella's supposed to be progressive, but the lineup looks like a frat party, one critic tweeted. Golden Voice responded by diversifying. By 2019, Ariana Grande, Janelle Monáe, and Bad Bunny brought a broader vibe. "We're listening," Talit said. "The desert's big enough for everyone." Environmental impact was another sore spot. Hosting 100,000 people in a fragile desert ecosystem. Not exactly Mother Nature's favorite party. By 2016, Coachella generated thousands of tons of waste, from plastic cups to abandoned tents. Fans griped about the irony of a free-spirited festival trashing the planet. "Coachella's greener than my kale smoothie, right?" one attendee quipped. Golden Voice rolled out sustainability initiatives, reusable water bottles, recycling stations, and a global inheritance program encouraging eco-friendly habits. By 2019, they claimed a 20% waste reduction, but critics weren't impressed. "It's a start, but it's still a drop in the bucket," said environmentalist Lena Chun. Cultural appropriation also stirred the pot. Coachella's boho aesthetic, think headdresses and bindis, drew fire for trivializing sacred symbols. In 2014, photos of festivalgoers in Native American-inspired gear went viral, sparking backlash. "It's not a costume, it's my culture," one Native activist posted. Golden Voice banned offensive attire in 2016, but enforcement was spotty. The festival's Instagram perfect image didn't help, amplifying performative allyship over real change. "Coachella wants to look woke without doing the work," one critic argued. The debate forced attendees to rethink their choices, though some still missed the memo. Then there was the commercialization beef. By the late 2010s, Coachella was a corporate juggernaut, with sponsors like American Express and H&M flashing their logos everywhere. Purists mourned the festival's indie roots, calling it Coachella Inc. VIP areas, with $10,000 cabanas, fueled class divides. "I saved for months for general admission, and the VIPs got their own bathrooms," one fan grumbled. Golden Voice defended the model, saying sponsorships funded the spectacle. "We're still about the art," Talit insisted. But the tension lingered. Was Coachella a utopia or a cash grab? These controversies didn't sink Coachella, they shaped it. Each critique pushed Golden Voice to adapt, from booking diverse acts to cutting waste. "We're not perfect, but we're trying," one organizer said. The festival's ability to weather drama while staying iconic is what kept it relevant. "Okay, I gotta admit, the headdress ban should have been stricter. Who's still wearing those?" Coachella's controversies were messy, but they proved it wasn't just a party. It was a mirror reflecting our culture's growing pains. Coachella's history is a scrapbook of moments that hit you right in the feels. Let's dive into some that still give fans goosebumps. In 2016, April 16th to 17th, and 23 to 24, Guns N' Roses reunited after decades of bad blood, with Axl Rose and Slash shredding Sweet Child O' Mine like it was 1987. "I cried actual tears," one fan said. "It was like my childhood hugged me." The set was a reminder of Coachella's knack for staging comebacks that feel personal, even in a crowd of thousands. In 2019, Ariana Grande closed the festival on April 14th and 21st, bringing out *NSYNC minus Justin Timberlake for a surprise tearing up my heart performance. The crowd lost it, screaming like it was a 90s boy band convention. "I'm living my teenage dream," Ariana shouted, and fans felt the same. The moment was peak Coachella, nostalgic, unexpected, and perfectly shareable. Instagram exploded with clips, racking up millions of views. "Ariana made me believe in magic again," one attendee posted. Then there's 2022, when Billie Eilish headlined on April 16th and 23rd, becoming the youngest headliner at 20. Her set, a mix of whispered ballads and booming anthems, was a love letter to Gen Z. "Billie's one of us," one fan cheered. "She gets it." Billie brought out Khaled for Lovely, and the desert turned into a giant sing-along. The moment captured Coachella's ability to crown new icons while staying rooted in raw emotion. "I grew up watching Coachella streams," Billie said. "Being here feels like home." Beyond the stage, the festival's daily life created its own memories. Fans camped under starry skies, swapping stories over smuggled snacks. One camper recalled, "We stayed up till 4 a.m., debating if Kendrick or Radiohead was better. Spoiler, it's Kendrick." Others braved ticket lotteries or hunted for wristbands on resale sites, turning the prep into its own saga. "I sold my old couch to afford Coachella," one fan laughed. "Worth it." Even the food lines sparked bonds. Who knew waiting for a $15 poke bowl could feel so communal? These moments, big and small, wove Coachella's tapestry. "It's not just a festival, it's a time capsule," said critic Rob Sheffield. From Axl's growl to Billie's whisper, Coachella bottled lightning, giving fans memories that outlasted the dust in their shoes. "I'm low-key jealous of everyone who was there for *NSYNC. Anyone else still singing Bye Bye Bye." These snapshots of joy and connection are why Coachella is more than an event. It's a feeling that lingers long after the music fades. Coachella isn't just a festival. It's a sequin comet that streaked across pop culture, leaving a trail of glitter that's still sparkling decades later. Since its scrappy start in 1999, it's redefined what it means to gather, celebrate, and express yourself. By the 2020s, Coachella was more than an annual event. It was a lifestyle, a vibe, a whole dang mood. Coachella's not just a place you go, said music critic and Powers in 2023. It's a way of seeing the world where art, music, and freedom collide. Let's unpack how this desert disco became a cultural cornerstone, shaping everything from fashion to the way we connect. First, let's talk fashion. Coachella didn't just follow trends, it birthed them. The festival's early boho chic aesthetic, all fringed vests and floppy hats, kicked off a global craze that had Forever 21 churning out crochet tops like nobody's business. By the 2010s, its streetwear phase, with neon sneakers and metallic bikinis, turned festival style into a year-round flex. Coachella made looking sweaty and fabulous a personality trait, quipped fashion editor Elaine Welteroth. Brands like Revolve built empires on Coachella-ready collections, and influencers turned the festival into a runway where every outfit screamed, "I'm here to slay." Even high fashion took note. In 2019, Gucci hosted a Coachella afterparty, proving the desert was as chic as Paris. The festival's sartorial influence is so deep that festival fashion is now its own category, with Coachella as the OG. Musically, Coachella rewrote the rulebook. It was the first major festival to blend genres like a cosmic DJ, mixing indie rock, hip-hop, EDM, and pop in a way that felt fresh, not forced. Coachella taught me to love music I didn't know I liked, said one fan in 2020, reflecting on discovering acts like Tame Impala and Rosalia. The festival's eclectic lineups pushed promoters worldwide to diversify, from Glastonbury's hip-hop headliners to Lollapalooza's Latin acts. It also gave a megaphone to underrepresented voices. Think Childish Gambino's 2019 set, which blended soul, funk, and social commentary. Coachella's stage is a mirror, Gambino said. It shows the world what's possible. By championing new talent alongside legends, the festival shaped global music tastes, making I Saw Them at Coachella a badge of cool. Economically, Coachella's a beast. By 2022, it was pumping over $700 million annually into the Coachella Valley, per a local economic study, transforming Indio from a sleepy town into a tourist magnet. Hotels, restaurants, and even gas stations cashed in on the April rush. Coachella's our Super Bowl, said Indio shop owner Maria Lopez. Local businesses dubbed it the Desert Christmas, with bars selling Coachella cocktails and boutiques stocking flower crowns. The festival also created thousands of jobs, from stagehands to food vendors, proving it wasn't just a party, it was a powerhouse. Globally, it sparked a festival economy boom, with cities from Austin to Amsterdam launching their own events to chase that Coachella cash. Socially, Coachella redefined connection in the digital age. It was the blueprint for the Instagrammable experience, where every palm tree and art installation was a photo op. By 2018, #COACHELLA posts racked up billions of views, turning attendees into content creators and the festival into a viral machine. Coachella made us all storytellers, said social media analyst Priya Rao. But it wasn't just about likes, it fostered real-world bonds. Fans formed communities online and off, swapping tips on Reddit or reuniting at after-parties. I met my best friend in a Coachella food line, one attendee shared in 2021. We bonded over overpriced nachos. That blend of digital and physical connection made Coachella a cultural glue for Gen Z and millennials. Yet, Coachella's impact wasn't without shadows. Its high costs and VIP culture sparked debates about accessibility, while its environmental footprint raised eyebrows. Still, it pushed the needle forward, inspiring festivals to prioritize sustainability and inclusivity. Coachella's not perfect, but it's a catalyst, said critic Rob Sheffield. Its legacy lies in its contradictions, a commercial giant with an indie heart, a global brand with a local soul. Okay, I'm low-key obsessed with how Coachella turned a dusty field into a cultural juggernaut. Who else could make $700 million look this cool? Its influence is a testament to the power of freedom of expression, proving a single weekend can ripple across decades. Recognition and future. Coachella's trophy case is bursting, and its future? Brighter than a desert sunrise. By the mid-2020s, the festival had racked up accolades like a rock star collecting Grammys. Rolling Stone named it the greatest festival in the world in 2020, praising its unmatched cultural reach. Forbes called it a global economic driver in 2022, citing its massive revenue and job creation. Even the New York Times got in on the love, dubbing Coachella the Super Bowl of youth culture in 2023. No event captures the zeitgeist like this, wrote critic John Caramanica. These shout-outs weren't just hype, they cemented Coachella as a benchmark for festivals everywhere, from Bonnaroo to Primavera Sound. Fans and artists echoed the praise. Coachella's where I became a fan for life, said one attendee in 2024, recalling a surprise Kendrick Lamar set. Artists, too, saw it as a career pinnacle. Playing Coachella is like winning an Oscar, said Florence Welch of Florence Plus the Machine in 2021. The festival's rep drew top talent, ensuring its lineups stayed legendary. Golden Voice's Paul Tollett, the maestro behind it all, was hailed as a visionary. Paul built a universe, said promoter Amy Corbin. Every festival owes him a thank you. His knack for balancing art and commerce kept Coachella's star shining, even when critics grumbled about ticket prices. Looking ahead, Coachella's poised to evolve with the times. Technology is a big player. By 2023, the festival was experimenting with VR live streams, letting fans worldwide attend from their couches. I danced to Dua Lipa in my living room, one virtual attendee bragged. Sustainability is another focus, with Golden Voice pledging carbon neutrality by 2030. Think solar-powered stages and compostable merch. Coachella's aiming to be as green as its palm trees. We want the desert to thrive, not just survive, Tollett said in 2024. The festival's also doubling down on inclusivity, promising more diverse lineups and affordable ticket options to quiet the elitist critiques. Global expansion's on the horizon too. Rumors swirled in 2025 about Coachella-branded events in Asia or Europe, though Tollett's keeping it coy. The desert's our home, he teased, but who says we can't travel? Whatever's next, Coachella's core, that freedom to be your wildest self, will stay intact. It's a place where you might lose your wallet, but find your soul, where a weekend feels like a lifetime. Coachella's a fever dream that never ends, one fan said. So, here's to the future, more music, more magic, and maybe a few less $20 smoothies. Who's ready for the next chapter? Drop your Coachella dreams in the comments. I'm betting on a hologram Paul Tollett by 2030. This dessert diva didn't just throw a party. She changed the world, one flower crown at a time. And the best part, she's still got plenty of glitter to spare.